following day, the brig Clarence was detached from the squadron to head into the port. It carried John Barrow, Sir George Staunton, Staunton's son George Thomas, and one of the Chinese missionaries, while the Lion and the Hindustan waited outside the maze of over 300 islands. The water was deep, the current strong, and the Clarence came dangerously close to being dashed on the naked rocks of Jerto Point. Thankfully, an eddy caught the ship, and it whirled it round 3 times, taking it further and further away from danger on each turn.
The British had received news in Batavia that the Emperor was pleased to welcome the embassy and had placed orders for pilots to be on alert along the coast of the Yellow Sea. This proved to be a blessing and a curse. No European had ever navigated the sea north of Jiushan before, but they were to go to Tianjin, the port nearest to Beijing. However, pilots in Dinghai were proving elusive. Nobody wanted to take on the dangerous route.
The greatest depth of the Yellow Sea did not exceed 36 fathoms, and it was frequently diminished to 10. The land was hidden in thick fogs. On dissipating, it was perceived that the whole squadron was within 4 miles of the mainland, and one of the ships close upon a rocky island. The commanders of the ships were exasperated against the pilots. They had done their best, but they possessed neither skill nor judgment. On landing, yellow flags bore the following inscription: "The English ambassador, carrying tribute to the Emperor of China."
The ships finally reached the mouth of the High River. 500 crew stayed on board, but a 100-strong embassy party continued inland towards the capital, first to Tianjin and then Tongzhou.
We found the yachts that were destined to convey us by river to the capital exceedingly convenient, more so indeed than any I have seen on our canals of England. The 2 officers that were sent from court showed the most earnest desire to make us comfortable. Their names were Wang and Chao, to which they annexed the title of Da Zhen, or Great Man. Wang had the rank of Lieutenant General in the army, and Chao was a district governor. They sat down to table with us, endeavouring to learn the use of the knife and fork, and made themselves extremely agreeable, and shook hands with us like Englishmen.
John Barrow noticed a complete lack of buildings and houses along that stretch, but he did see people working and living on boats on the river. In fact, on one 90-mile stretch, he reckons he saw at least 100,000 people. When they got to Tongzhou, there were canvas pavilions laid out and plenty of refreshments, cakes, tea and fruit on masses of ice. There were 3,000 porters to take the gifts off the boat. John Barrow reckons that they worked with the expediency and skill unmatched by workers in any other country. Having reached Tongzhou, the embassy were housed in a Confucian temple, the monks being evicted without ceremony. Monks being kicked out of their temples was quite a common occurrence, and it was customary for guests to offer a prayer of thanks, not to whichever gods the temple was for, but to the emperor, ensuring that his status as the Son of Heaven was always respected.
When John Barrow and his party got here, they landed at Tongzhou, which is about 8 miles outside of Beijing, which is where I've come to today. And they were housed in a Confucian temple whilst all of the gifts were unloaded. And I picked this one to come to film because it was going to be a little bit quieter than some of the others. But I've got a really funny feeling this might actually be the place where they were. Everything kind of lines up with his description. So there we go.